So today I'm going to be playing against a Delver of Secrets deck. That's what I found in the blind. It's specifically a Grixis Delver deck. And it's not that hard to beat a Grixis Delver deck. It's actually really strongly in your favor, even with all the removal that they've got. Their deck is just a lot of series of things that don't connect very well together. And meanwhile, you're just top decking threats every turn. You have a lot of removal for a couple key creatures, and then later when you've got like one or two threats that you stuck down, and they're on top deck mode, and they draw a mana leak, it's awful against you. It just does nothing. Or Remand really does nothing past the third turn because you go, I'm gonna play my Wild Noctil. Remand, okay, I'll play my Wild Noctil. Oh, you still have Remand? That's fine. I'll play my Wild Noctil. So it's highly in your favor, just because you're just aggressive and they're reactive, and you force them to try to pretend to be a control deck, which they do a really bad job at. We got a pretty good opener here. 3 lands, 2 creatures, and 2 quote-unquote removal spells, even though one thing's gonna get stripped from our hand right now. I say 2 removal spells because we got Domri. Domri has can be a bunch of things other than a removal spell. If he removes Domri out of my hand right here, I'm not too worried. If he removes Wild Noctil, that's 1 point of power that I lose. But on the cost end of his 2 life, plus I do get to attack here, it looks like. I wonder if that means he's got like some sort of board wipe spell that he's gonna have trying to deal with here, or he's just got a bunch of removal, maybe. So Wild Noctil being a 2/2 here is relevant sometimes, especially with things like Is It Charm that could just happen right now. Okay, so he removed the Domri because gotcha, because of the ability to... I can still Path to Exile. He knows I got the Path to Exile. He removed the Domri because Domri against tempo basically means I will win. There's no real good answer for Domri against with the tempo deck other than burning it out. But if they're not burning it out, then my creatures live, so it's like bad for them anyways. Delver not flipping is something I always like seeing on the first turn that a Delver is a Delver. He could burn my Loom Line here, kill one of them. I still have a block though. And he's quickly down to 2 cards in hand, which like really stinks for him at least. I can still trample over. I've got removal spells. I got another land. I'm gonna be tacking in here. No reason not to. Bring them down to lower than me. And this does mean that I've got Gore Clan for any point in time that I need to use it. Path to Exile can still hit his Delver. I might have wanted to do that while he was tapped out, but I'm not super worried about it. He doesn't flip, so that's fine. I don't mind taking 1 damage. No big deal here. Holding the path for something like a click is way better. And there goes a Liliana. Liliana's great for him. Worst for me. I'm gonna take a Stomping Ground here, I guess, or a Temple Garden. I suppose I should take a Temple Garden. Round out my mana base. Hopefully I draw another land here, or something worth noting, and that something was here, and it's called a Loom Line. I'm probably going to have to discard a Rampager. I'm assuming he's going to make me discard something. Delver not flipping is a little unusual at this point. There's a lot of stuff that Delver could have been doing. He knows I've got a... oh, he does not know I have a what do you call it? He does not know that I've got Gore Clan Rampagers in hand. So even if I discard one, it's a little bit nice. And that Liliana is going to get shot down in a second. I'm going to still hold that Path to Exile, and in fact, I'm going to just take the Gore Clan Rampager out of my hand. Path to Exile is fine there. I'd much rather use the Path to Exile at this point. I'm gonna kill this Liliana. That's for sure. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and kill Liliana at this point, and if he decides to block to try to, like, stop me, I'm gonna go ahead and, just Gore Clan Rampager over it. It's really important that Liliana needs to die. And this puts me in a better position. Yes, he's got, we're at the same life, he's got more lands than me, but we're both top decking, and I top deck really well, where he just doesn't top deck that well. Obviously he didn't top deck himself something worth mentioning here, because it didn't flip his Delver of Secrets. He might have like a Remand or something, but I'm attacking for more damage over time than he is. Tarmogoyf is bigger than my knight here, I think. 1, 2. So that's a 4-4, whereas Tarmogoyf is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, so I'm just going to go ahead and try to play the Tarmogoyf here. He didn't get him anything worth flipping, so he didn't get a counterspell. So that means I know this Tarmogoyf is safe. He got a land or a creature. That means that Tarmogoyf is just huge right here. And this probably ends the game, I assume. Yeah. I mean, I had a knight here too. I'm not going to show it to him or anything, but the Tarmogoyf basically just was like, good luck. Sure. I had less lands, but I got more action than him, and that's just what happens. So he's a tempo deck. That does mean we've got certain things to side in against him. Things like Choke is good, and more removal spells are good, like Chain to the Rocks. We actually don't need the Boros charms here. They're just not worth anything. Combust is actually pretty nice against them, because it does let me, beat their butt and they can't counter it. Chain to the Rocks, I guess, is a little slow against them, right? Yeah, it's probably a little slow against them. I suppose I can take out things like Path to Exile too. I don't think they're running anything that's like worth me pathing. It's just better to have a beatdown plan. Choke basically will just win the game for me, and have sort of these removal spells. I'm upgrading my Combust to, I'm upgrading my Path to Exiles to Combust is really what it is. Yeah, there's nothing else I want to bring. I could bring in the Kitchen Finks, but I still feel like Knight of the Reliquary is probably just better than that. The Gore Clan Trample's like totally worth it, as Kitchen Finks is nice against them, but I've got other slots that could be used. And we've got a strong hand here too. We've got a way to evolve on turn 2. And yes, he can kill my Experiment 1, but that still leaves me with like more creatures that do damage than him. If he wants to waste his turn with a turn 1 discard, that's fine as well, because it still means I've got a turn 1, turn 2 play. I've definitely got more land here than I'd like to see, but the hope is that I don't draw a land, which I always do. I always draw that 5th land, like an idiot. I'm gonna be greedy and crack it, just so that I can thin my deck out. Because if I draw another land, it's basically I killed myself by keeping this hand. And I gotta get myself out a red mana too, so that way I can still put 2 Curd Apes out next turn, regardless of his counter spells or anything. One of the smart moves I will do is, though, if he puts out an untapped land, and then, technically untapped, and then doesn't do anything, I'm gonna go ahead and pretend like I'm mana screwed here. Ooh, I'm in the tank. I'm in the tank. You know, ooh, I'm in the tank. I'm not going to put out a land right away. Because I don't think he's got a Syncopate or anything to counter it, so it's not like a big deal for me. And I'm going to cast it on 1 land. That maybe will make him remand it to my hand, in which case I'll just drop the 2nd land and cast it again. I think I'm making him think that I've got the remand here. Or that I don't have the land, and that I'm mana screwed, and he should totally pull one out on me. That's fine. Where now I'm totally gonna drop this for a mountain. and then play a second one. Here I'm giving him the chance to burn my experiment one, but to burn my experiment one, it's going to cost him like 3 life, which is not that good for him regardless. Or it's going to cost him 1 life. That's fine too, but it does color screw him away from Cryptic Command, which I don't mind. Mana Leak's totally fine on that end too. Mana Leak is probably worse for him in the long run. It does mean that he can still burn out my Experiment 1, but it means that my Experiment 1 does grow again off the Knight of the Reliquary. Cracking that fetch early was kind of nice, because now my Knight of the Reliquary is sort of above bolt range when I cast it. It's going to be almost above Electrolyze and bolt range at the same time, which he's not going to be able to do because I cost 3 mana and another one. He can still double bolt it, but if he's going to spend 2 bolts on my Knight of the Reliquary, I kind of don't mind at all, because it still means I'm getting more damage in. Path to Exile is a good draw here. I don't think he can, let's see, he can bolt and Electrolyze next turn if he's got the mana for it. Regardless, my Knight's going to be dead even without the Verdant Catacomb in the graveyard. So I'm just going to go ahead and be greedy and keep this Verdant Catacomb for a forest next turn. And I'm going to go ahead and play that Knight of the Reliquary. Again, he can Mana Leak it, but that just means that I'm getting in there for 4 more damage. If he doesn't, I'm in there for 5 damage at least, if he doesn't bolt anything in response. Again, he'd have to bolt my Experiment 1 to do anything here. My Experiment 1 would then die, but otherwise it will be Revival. Again, there goes a bolt to the graveyard, meaning my Knight of the Reliquary is surviving, probably for a while. I'm going to try to take it out of bolt range before I attack with it. I definitely have aggression here, but I'd rather go ahead and get my Knight to be impervious to pretty much everything he's doing for a little bit prior. Oh, Combust! That happened. Yeah, sure. That did mean we're down to equal amount of cards in hand, except he's down to 15 and tapped out. I draw a Lightning Helix, which is great for me, because it means I can kill whatever he puts out finally. And he's going to drop lower than me. Lightning Helix can go to the face. I'd rather not. I'd rather just hit something else. There's a fair chance I still crack this for a... I'm going to crack this for a basic, because I'm playing around a Blood Moon here. I'm still playing around a Blood Moon here, and I want to still be able to cast all my stuff. Hopefully we draw something worth mentioning here. Curd Ape is worth mentioning, because it still puts the aggression down, makes sure that he can't attack with that Snapcaster. Snapcaster gets significantly worse when he can't attack me with it. And I still have a way to Lightning Helix. And that pulls me out of at least one more attack from his Creeping Tar Pit. But the bad thing is I'm out of cards in hand at this point. Gonna go ahead and put the Wild Noctail down. He might have a mana leak for it, which I can pay for. And also, I can pay for anything else too. He uses his mana to bolt my guy next turn, and he doesn't have any more mana in hand. That means Creeping Tar Pit isn't going to be able to do anything. I'm guessing he's got blanks in his hands if he's attacking with the Creeping Tar Pit and had absolutely nothing else to do. Drawing myself another Noctail here is totally fine. He's tapped out. That means I'm going to win this race damage. This race. I'm keeping my one Stomping Ground in my hand because I've got no reason. It's just sort of like pretending to be something else if I need it to be, like a Gore Clan Rampager or something. The truth is, he can't keep attacking with the Tar Pit. He can attack with the Tar Pit again, bringing me to equal, but then I return the attack by bringing him down to 4, which is pretty much in burn range. I don't have the Boros Charms in my hand anymore, or in my deck anymore, but it still does what it needs to do. Not to mention, pretty much all my draws are live at this point. Liliana's fine. I'm going to be killing that thing. It's not like I can leave a Liliana on the field, especially when he can untap and do something about it. It saves him some damage, but I needed to do that anyways. So again, we're basically at the same place now. He's drew an extra land, which is nice for him. But he puts down another Liliana. That's 3 damage. So again, I'm still winning this race battle over here with the upside of me drawing powerful stuff. Because all my top decks are live. His might be like, I don't know, mana leaks and things like that, which aren't that great. Serum Vision's showing him that he's probably still in need. If he puts down like a Liliana, which is like, I think the most powerful thing he could do here, I still hit him for another 3 and I kill the Liliana, regardless. I think he's got like a lot of lands in his hands and he's just trying to bluff it. I'm guessing I'm getting hit by a Creeping Tar Pit. I guess I'm not being hit by a Creeping Tar Pit. Maybe he's realizing that he has more Creeping Tar Pits than I've got Wild Noctails and he can double block for a little while. It doesn't mean that I'm not attacking here. Experiment 1 is not a good draw. I'm still getting in for 2. And it does mean he's sacrificing a land, which I don't necessarily mind. Him being down to 2 is still great for me. Experiment 1 still will get in for another 1, bringing him down to 4 next turn, and he'll lose a land if he chooses to do that. If he Lilianas, I sacrifice my Experiment 1. No big deal. Inquisition of Kozilek. Yeah, see, that's why I kept this in my hand. It means he wastes a mana and he loses something out of his hand. Anger of the Gods. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I should have expected that he would have Anger of the Gods. It's just, he had creatures, so I couldn't see any reason for him to... Horizon Canopy is an alright draw. I always don't mind drawing Horizon Canopy because it means I get to draw again. And yeah, the Tarmogoyf then comes down, which is like hell on wheels for him. Again, 5/6. That's a totally live draw. I got nothing. I'm not hiding anything anymore at this point, so I'm just gonna put down the Stomping Ground. He knows it's just a Stomping Ground. It did its job. Tarmogoyf, he's gonna have to block or he dies. There's just no question about it. It's not evolving the experiment or the Delver of Secrets, so I'm guessing he just attacks here and then blocks with a 1/1. But if I draw any removal spell, it means he's dead. Delver of Secrets will go ahead and die here. He's got to block, otherwise he dies. So Delver's Secret's got a block here. I'm waiting for this guy to reconnect. And that kills his Delver's Secrets. And then the next thing, he's got a Creeping Tar Pit that can still drop me down to 4 life, which is not enough to kill me with the bolt, so he'd have to double bolt me. And he'd have to... He already used quite a bit of bolts and things. Then I've got the Tarmogoyf to just sort of like win the game. Because I'll put that down, and he can't remove both of them, he can't block both of them, so he'll die. Basically draw 2 shotguns in a row over here. He would need to draw a removal spell, or have both bolts in hand and have Creeping Tar Pit. If he doesn't do anything, it basically means that he's got a blank in his hand, and he's going to have to block because he can't kill me this turn. Yeah, so the Anger of the Gods isn't doing very much here. Guy's mad that he doesn't get his 3rd red, whatever, 2nd red. That's the truth. I mean, Anger of the Gods is pretty bad in that deck anyways, I would think. The truth of the matter is that Anger of the Gods is much better in a deck that, like, where your creatures all have 4 toughness, or where they all just sort of like, or you just don't have creatures, you know. That's the best versions of Anger of the Gods. Without that, it's pretty crappy to play against. It's just like, because it's bad timing. It'll either remove their creatures or whatever. So as you guys can see, the deck we just played against Grixis Delver, and it's not the greatest against us, even though it has a ton of removal. Liliana only 1s for 1s, and it's when you're paying 3 mana to get rid of my 1 mana creature, it's kind of stupid. At no points in times was he doing any better than me. All my top decks were live, while his were pretty dead. Drawing Anger of the Gods to having out 2 Tarmogoyfs. Realistically, when Anger of the Gods resolves against me, I either lose if I don't have a Knight of the Reliquary, Tarmogoyf, or Gore Clan Rampager, but that is 12 cards that do not die to it. Not to mention I've got Boros Charm, which can negate it. He Angers of the Gods and I have one of them out, and it's just actually worse for him because even though he slowed his death, he still has death in the form of Tarmogoyf. Other things about the matchup off the top of my head, well, I can think of some sideboarding things. So these are the sideboarding techs I would use against Grixis Delver specifically. Grim Lavamancer gets rid of all their creatures. None of their creatures really survive that long with the Grim Lavamancer out and sticking. Yes, they can answer the Grim Lavamancer, but if the Grim Lavamancer for 1 mana can kill 2 of their creatures, then you just spent 1 mana and 1 card to make them discard 1 card and remove 2 creatures. It's awesome. Luxodon Smiter is also a really good choice here. The Can't Be Countered is pretty relevant. The Can't Be Discarded is somewhat relevant as well. Blood Moon and Choke both are like land disruption packages, which just screw the Grixis Delver player. They're running all fast lands. So Choke maybe isn't that relevant, but Blood Moon really kill them. Boros Charm, if they're playing the Anger of the Gods version, if not, it still does 4 damage or double strikes, which is kind of cool, but I would suggest these guys, mostly because if you have it, it does allow you to null out one of their bolts, or their terminates. Combust is good because it kills their important creatures, like Click, or what do you call it, occasionally Master of Waves, mostly Delver. Can't Be Countered, which is big. Mutagenic Growth and Vines of Astwood both are instant speed, counter your bolt, basically. This allows you to, for 0 mana, attack into a bolt and then be like, nope, don't care, and just keep hitting. Vines of Astwood costs 2 mana to get way more out of it, but it's still really awesome. Domri, if you stick against them, it will win you the game. Literally, they cannot answer it. Yes, they've got a Hero's Downfall, maybe as a 1 of or 2 of in their deck, but the Domri, if it sticks, basically just ends the game for you, because it's just more gas than they can handle. Plus, anything that makes you fight their Delver and kill it is just awesome, because they're relying on flying to really kill you. Molten Rain is also, again, like I said with the land killing package, a bit more tempo oriented. I can screw them out of red, which is the color to try to screw them out of if they have Anger of the Gods or something. And those are the cards that you might want to think about if your meta's got a lot of like Grixis Delver in it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it, and remember to feed your animals.